Wrestling podcast never felt this great. Tables, ladders, chairs, they tell it all. From the highest highs to the lowest fall. Great and glory tales from the ring. Every chant, every cheer they'll bring. Devon and the Duke bring the heat. Wrestling tales knock you off your seat. Tune in now, don't you be late. Wrestling podcast never felt this great.
Brothers and sisters, welcome back. Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Devon and the Duke podcast. This is a limited edition series hosted by your main man, Duke Loves Wrestling, and of course, the five-time Hall of Famer, one of the greatest of all time, Brother Devon Dudley. What's going on there, Devon?
Everything's good. How you doing, Duke?
I am doing fantastic, man. You know, we're going into Mother's Day weekend. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, and also all the ladies out there who have taken the place of a mom and have raised folks in your life and what have you. You know, all of you, happy Mother's Day, especially not only for myself, but of course the Hall of Famer here. Devon is always a big hit with the moms out there, right?
From what I hear. From what I hear.
Don't start nothing, won't be nothing. All right, I'm just going to leave it like
tried.
that. Well, speaking of trying, listen, man, the last time we got together, we had a fantastic conversation about this moment that you had where you're reflecting on the fact that your two sons, Terrence and Terrell, TNT, they grew up being in the locker room and watching you and Bubba, the Dudley boys, putting matches together, especially with folks like your arch rivals, the Hardy Boyz. And you had a moment recently where you were sitting there watching your sons put a match together with the Hardy Boyz. And it was such a big hit. The listeners loved it, man. They thought that was so cool, that nostalgia and what have you, that we decided, you know what? Let's bring TNT, Terrence and Terrell, the third and fourth men who we're always talking about on the show. Let's bring them on and let's have a whole family gathering here. So first and foremost, Devon, once again, man, just the feeling of watching your sons put a match together with the Hardys and knowing that they were learning from you. And now they are kind of transitioning and doing their own thing now. Once again, how does that feel, man?
It felt great. I had to learn how to sit there and shut the hell up and don't interfere. You know, whatever they, decided to do in the match, that's them. Whether I thought it was good or whether I thought it was bad, because no one was there to teach me. I mean, don't get me wrong. We had people like Tommy Dreamer, Paul Heyman, guys like that, but I didn't have a dad in this business to teach me and the do's and don'ts of the wrestling business. I had to learn the hard way. I messed up along the way. There was things that I did that I shouldn't have done. There was things that I did that I was praised for. But you have to learn, I've learned, to make your own mistakes. Just because someone's been there before you doesn't necessarily mean that you telling them what's going to happen is good, because they have to learn for themselves, and that's one of the things that I had to learn, whether it was the hard way or whatever. I had to learn that you're going to make mistakes along the way. Listen to those who have come before you, and don't sit there and listen to knuckleheads that are trying to get to where you are. And it was one of the hardest tests and tasks that I think I ever had to teach myself, but I did. And I got burned along the way, but you learn. That's the key. You learn even when you get burned. Don't let the burn cloud your judgment on things. You take it and go with it. And that's exactly what I did.
Well, and I guess it turned out all right. I mean, you're in 5 different Hall of Fame. So you learned and applied something, huh?
I did. I really did. And, it was weird sitting up there at that show, not saying a word, not intervening in nothing, and watching Matt and Jeff go over it with Terrence and Terrell. I said this before. When kids come in the back, not wrestlers kids, but just regular kids in general, they see Edge, they see Christian, they see the Hardy, they see the Dudleys, they see the Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin. You kind of fan out for it as a kid because, you see them on TV, they're bigger than life and what have you. But with my sons, It was different. You know, they met all of those guys, I said, as regular people, not as WWF or WWE superstars. They met them as regular people. So it wasn't, oh my God, it's Edge. It was Uncle Edge. It was Uncle Christian. You know, they would play around. Although Terrence and Terrell never liked to open their mouths, they were very quiet and very shy. But at the same token, they weren't starstruck like that because they had been around them for so long that they were normal people, as opposed to some people, you know, looking at it as, oh my God, you know, I'm marking out, I'm a fan. They didn't look at it that way. And that was the good thing about it. So to see them actually do this with Jeff and Matt was mind blowing to me. And, you know, at one point I thought I would have to get up and lace up the boots. And I just said, no, I said, I'm good. This is not my show. You know, for once, I'm the spectator. For once, I'm sitting back watching. And it was good, even though I was managing, but still. I tell you what, though, I don't miss being in that ring with Jeff at all. I swear to God, Jeff hurts me, man. Every time I see him, I go, don't touch me, man. And he laughs about it because, you know, we joke around, but, you know, it's just one of those things where it was a very proud moment. I was very happy and very honored to see what I saw. And for them to be able to hang with the Hardys, that's really cool.
I love that. I love that. Again, the nostalgia. So much to unpack there. And you know, we heard from the father now, folks. Now it's time to hear from the sons. It's time to hear from that next generation who are making it happen out there. Legitimately one of the best tag teams on the independent wrestling scene today. TNT, Terrence and Terrell. Officially, welcome to Devon and the Duke. We'll start with you, Terrence. How you doing, man?
Doing great. Thank you for having us. We really happy to be on here.
Terrell, what's going on, brother?
Hey, I'm doing good. I appreciate you having us on as well. Thank you.
Well, Terrell, I want to stay with you for a moment here because your dad, again, Devon Dudley, Hall of Famer, 5-time Hall of Famer, describing this moment of you and your brother putting a match together with the Hardys, and really he being the observer for a change. How did that feel for you, Terrell, to have your dad sit there and you kind of have a role reverse with him?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a pretty busy weekend because it was Mania weekend, so everything was kind of a lot going on, a lot of events, a lot of signings. So with me and Terrence getting there, I know the Hardys had I think 8 different appearances or something like that. They said, and I think the show didn't even start till I want to say after midnight or something like that. So it was a long day. It was, but it was a really cool experience because Fourth Rope really did a solid for us and putting us in there with, you know, one of the greatest tag teams to ever do it. So the fact that they, you know, trusted us, I know that they had seen, we talked with MVP and MVP really liked our work, and Enzo liked it, and they really thought that it'd be a good matchup. And then when the Hardys did get there, you know, like you said, putting the match together, they were really open to whatever ideas we had, and they really wanted to help us. So it was a really cool experience.
You know, Terrence, Devon was able to take a step back and reflect on that moment of, again, you know, his 2 sons who were watching he and Bubba put a match together with the Hardys, and now those 2 sons are in that role themselves, and Devon gets to watch. Have you reflected on that yet? I mean, I know we're talking about it now, but even before now, did it strike you that it was as big of a moment as it really is here?
It did. Kind of to his point, we've always known how big the Hardys were in tag team wrestling. However, you kind of get used to it when you go to school as a kid and people talk about the Hardys, and that's just your dad's rival. So, like, you know the importance of them, but it wasn't until it was actually time for me to wrestle them that I realized just how big of a deal they were and how big of a deal that moment was. Because, you know, you hear stories like Randy Orton talking about how Andre the Giant and all these guys are in his living room playing cards. So to all of us, Andre the Giant, that's a big deal, but that's just one guy that was in his living room playing cards with the family. Same thing for the Hardys, you know, even though it's a big deal, we know how big of a deal. It was a very, very normal thing to see them. But once we got in the ring with them, and then even after the match, just everybody just the praise we got just for even being in the ring with them, it was like that moment of, oh wait, wow, that was a lot bigger of a deal than you realize, you know?
Terrence, I want to stay with you for a moment here. I know that having this type of proximity to these stars, like Devon said, that's Uncle Edge and that's Uncle Rock and those guys. You and your brother Terrell grew up with these guys. That's great, and that's insight. And you grew up with it. You weren't intimidated so much, at least as much as a complete stranger would be. So that's certainly has helped you. What's been the biggest challenge about having a Hall of Fame dad in the business, especially a man who's famous for being legitimately one of the greatest tag team wrestlers of all time, and part of the, other than the Road Warriors, the greatest tag team of all time? What's been the biggest challenge there, Terrence?
I can't put me over.
There's been a lot of pros and cons. Pros would be, we might go to a indie show in Philadelphia and we make some money because some fans want us to sign not even our stuff, but signing his pictures. You can make some money. Promoters will advertise you just because you're his kid. Some promoters will book you just because you're his kid, and then sometimes there's some cons. We definitely have had a lot of people cut the same promo, oh, you guys did nothing. It's just your dad. We've had promoters mess with us. I remember, promoters saying, we get this a lot, but promoters will say things like, how many people out there knew who you guys were? I don't think they knew who you were, or they'll say, they'll compare us, or there's just a lot of people who test you, you know what I mean? So there's the pros, there's the cons. It's sometimes in a way you sometimes wish you weren't his kid, and then sometimes you're happy that you were his kid. I mean, the Hardys match was a perfect example. Would we have gotten that spot if we were his kid? Maybe, maybe not. But the fact that we were his kid added that story, to it.
Terrell, how about yourself, man? What's been one of the biggest challenges for you, being the son of a Hall of Famer?
Well, I mean, it's not really, too much of a different answer than him as far as pretty much getting out of the shoes. I mean, it's kind of hard to say when you're one of the most decorated tag teams that, you're going to go to all these shows and they're not going to look at you as just, your own identity or whose son you are. I'm sure Charlotte Flair, I'm sure, Pillman and Mysterio, a lot of the second, third generation wrestlers are, go through the same thing, even though some of them did or didn't do indies. But going through indies, walking in the locker rooms, a lot of promoters, they want to see you do the 3D and they want to see you do that because you're still building. So they want almost a finished product. So when you want a finished product, it's not really about you. So it is a little bit of a challenge. It is, and it's hard to kind of bypass that, but at the end of the day, it's what you chose to do. So you got to figure a way. You got to figure it out somehow, whatever path that is. So I think with coming up with different ideas to be different, but to also be the same, you got to find that fine line. I feel like, but I'd say that's probably the biggest challenge.
Devon, you're one of the best parts about this show is that you provide a lot of life lessons and a lot of insight. That's not only helpful for wrestlers, but also everyday people. People really get a lot out of you in that regard because you're naturally an educator. You care about people and you want them to be better and you pass down the knowledge. So for other wrestlers who have kids who are interested in being pro wrestlers and they want to get into the business and what have you, what advice, reflecting back now on, the past 10 plus years here of TNT being out there wrestling their own matches and what have you, what advice do you have for other parents who are wrestlers that have kids who want to be wrestlers?
Well, give them be upfront with them about the business. Let them make their own mistakes. And I mentioned this on the show before in speaking to Mike Rotundo, who was a very good friend of mine who helped me along the way as a producer in WWE. And there were certain things that I would hear in the meetings about his kids, Bray and Bo, from certain powers to be that were in charge at the time. And it was kind of like degrading them, belittling them. And Mike is sitting there and hearing this and taking it. And I pulled him aside after me. I said, how the hell are you able to sit through that and not want to break this man's neck? He was like, Devon, I told my kids from the get-go, this is how the business is. This is what happens. These are how people are. They lie, they manipulate, they steal, they do everything possible to make it look like you are the wrong one when you're not. They'll even lie on your name. But you have to ignore that and let them learn for themselves. Because let them go and feel the pain and go through it. Because once they feel it, they'll know what it is and they'll never let it happen again. Not to mention, they knew what they were getting into before they got into the business. So, and I warned them about it. So if you warn them, then guess what? They have a better head to be able to handle it a little better. Now, you got some people that don't know how to handle it, even when you tell them. You just got to keep, knocking it into them. Because this business, as you know, Duke, is very, very cruel. It's not friendly at all, even if you are a second generation wrestler. And sometimes it's even harder when you're a second generation wrestler. So, my advice to them is to always be honest with the kids and tell them, give them the right from wrong, but also make sure that you explain to them, you're going to have setbacks. You're going to go through some mess. But at the end of the day, as long as you keep your head on straight, you'll be good. You have to be just as professional outside the ring as you do inside the ring. How many, Duke, and let me ask you a question, and I'll continue to talk after you answer it. How many people do you know that have messed up their careers outside of the wrestling business and never bounced back?
Countless. Unfortunately, countless. Yeah.
It's not just what you do in the ring, it's what you do outside the ring. Once you become a name in this business, once you basically become somebody, the radar is on you. You may not be on the same level as some of the guys like AJ Styles when he was on Indies and he was making a big name for himself. But trust me, there's enough people that know who you are that if you were to mess up and you were to do something wrong, being in the media is the least of your problems because that's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to belittle you. They're going to say he couldn't handle it. The pressure was too strong. And now you got to deal with the assholes, that the fans that think they know everything. And now they're going to put their 2 cents into it. It's just very, very hard. So you have to make sure that they're mentally prepared. And that's the key. It's not even physical. It's mentally. Make sure that your kids are mentally prepared to go out there. Listen, once you go out there and you physically do it, that's the easy part. Dealing with the nonsense behind the scenes, now that's the hard part.
Well said. Well said. Terrell, you and your brother are going to be at the River City Wrestling Con. We know that this year, June 7th and 8th, down at the World Golf Village in St. Augustine, Florida, there is an open challenge. TNT has made it clear out there, folks, they are willing to take on any tag team in this entire universe. If you think you have what it takes, the promoters down there at River City Wrestling Con, they got to figure it out. They got to bring the best team that they can put together to challenge TNT, and let's see what's really going on. We're going to have all the Hall of Famers there, including Devon. We got Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Ric Flair, Bret Hart. The whole 9 yards are going to be there to see what TNT is all about in that ring. I know they got all the big scouts from all the major companies, the whole 9 yards. So, Terrell, I'll start with you, man. What can fans expect when they see TNT step in that ring at the River City Wrestling Con?
River City, I'm going to be honest, I don't know about the roster, but I mean, when it comes to whoever is on the roster, we'll take on anyone and everyone. We just took on the Hardy Boyz. I mean, you can only go up from here. I mean, whoever wants the challenge, I think TNT is ready to take on anybody who's on that roster. And I mean, if we need to bring tables, if that's what people want to see, we'll put someone through a table.
Okay, hold on. You got to ask permission for that. Get your get your own gimmick. Don't leave mine alone. Don't mess with it. Come on now. I don't want to sue my sons. I'll have you on Judge Mathis quick.
they try to get us kicked out of the building. So, Terrence, we need you to jump in on this one, man. What's going on here? What can we expect from TNT at the River City Wrestling Con, Terrence?
So whatever tag team it is that's against us, what you can expect is number one, a victory. Number two, definitely some more tag team cohesiveness. I mean, how many tag teams out there right now on the indie scene are brothers? Been together their whole lives. I don't see much out there. So you're definitely gonna see probably one of the only tag teams right now in the indies that's a brother tag team.
All right, you heard it straight from them, folks. River City Wrestling Con, June 7th and 8th, St. Augustine, Florida. Get your tickets at rivercitywrestlingcon.com. So not only will you get a chance to see TNT in action, you'll also get to meet them. You get to meet Devon, all the other legends, Ric Flair, Bret Hart, Thunder Rosa is going to be there. The whole 9 yards. It's going to be a fantastic convention all weekend. Bring the entire family. So like I said from the beginning, fellas, we got Mother's Day coming up. So Terrence, I'll start with you. How about we get a special shout out for Mother's Day for all the mothers, including your mom out there? What do you got?
Well, happy Mother's Day to my mom. I actually got her a Mother's Day gift just a little bit early. She wanted this nice necklace set. So happy Mother's Day to all the moms. Hope you liked your gift to my mom. And should be a fun weekend. When I get back after winning my match on Saturday, I'll come back home and I will take my mom out to lunch.
Don't forget to walk out when you take her out to lunch. Wear the title belt. Walk around the town wearing the belt like Muhammad Ali did his.
Right around my waist. Yep.
Right around your waist.
Be the greatest. Be the greatest. Terrell, Mother's Day. What do you got, brother?
Mother's Day is real important to me. We celebrate our mom. We love our mom. It's one of the most important women in your life. And so I just shout out to all the mothers. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And yeah, I hope everyone enjoys their Sunday and their Mother's Day this weekend.
Devon, I know you got something to say about the bishop, man. What do you got to say about Mother's Day?
I love my mother. She just celebrated her birthday, 68 years old. I'm sorry, 69 years old. And she looks like she's 30. It's freaking great. It's true what they say, black don't crack. If you go on my Instagram, you can definitely see a lot of photos of my mom. Me and my mother used to butt heads a lot because of the path that I chose, which was the wrestling business. I had a 4-year scholarship to play football, and I passed it up to do pro wrestling because that was where my love and my heart was. And of course, being a preacher in the church and all of that, she didn't see that vision. And people need to understand too, is that back then, wrestling was very hard to get involved with. The schools were like, you didn't really hear about them. You used to hear about it from a word from maybe somebody in the business that would let it out that there was a wrestling school. So it wasn't like it is now. Business was very, very different back then. So she didn't approve of it. And we kind of was like butting heads for the past 20 years of my career because of that. But long and behold, we got past that and, we moved on, and I loved every bit of her and still do to this day. I sent her 24 roses to her house for her birthday and another 24 for Mother's Day. I love my mother dearly. She's been great. The story is she was pregnant at 15, had me at 16. We went through struggles. We've done it all. God brought us through the highways and the byways, safe and sound. And he actually made our lives, even though growing up in Brooklyn in the projects, the way we did, he still provided for us. He kept us strong. And I can't begin to tell you how proud I am of my mom, of the things that she has accomplished and what she has done. She is the head speaker for all the Baptist churches in New York. She's a moderator. She's all of that. She took over my father's church when he passed away in 2003, became the first Black female to preach and run a church of over 500 members. That is a huge accomplishment from where we came from. Again, pregnant at 15, had me at 16, living in the projects, growing up, going through hell and back. But she didn't cower. She didn't do anything. She taught me values. Did she bust my behind? Absolutely. Was I mad at her back then? Yes, I was. But long and behold, as you get older, you realize those ass whoopings was worth it. because it made you who the person you are today. So I love my mother, and I want to say thank you for everything that you did.
I love it. I love it. Wow. Powerful, powerful. All three of you there. Powerful. Plenty of love there. I got to get mine in here too. Mom, happy Mother's Day. 37 years, law enforcement officer, well respected. Not a single infraction, by the way. 37 years, clean record, not even a complaint, which is amazing, quite frankly. Damn near impossible. But that's because she lives by the golden rule. Do unto others as you'd want to unto yourself here. And certainly that's a lesson she's always instilled in me. I am the man I am today because of my mom. So happy Mother's Day, Mom. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for everything, literally everything. That's for sure. Speaking of moms, I'm going to start with you, Devon. You know, we have a wonderful audience there, including some wonderful moms. There's one mom who's actually a grandma by the name of Cheryl Savage. She is a huge wrestling fan. Her son Billy was a big wrestling fan. He's my age, so she put up with it while he was younger. And Billy was able to pass down the wrestling gene down to his daughter. His daughter Kaylee Savage. She was one of the first young women to get a scholarship to wrestle coming out of high school out of the state of Mississippi. And now she wrestles at the University of Mount Olive. So she's on the wrestling team out there. She's making things happen. She's a big wrestling fan. It all started with her father, Billy, and her grandma, Cheryl, allowing him to be a wrestling fan. So that's how it grew. Anyway, Cheryl's a big fan of the show, Devon. So I figured I'd single her out in particular. What do you have to say to Cheryl Savage, the grandma who's a big fan of ours?
Cheryl, thank you for all your support and love over the years. Thank you for being behind us, even when whether you hated us or you cheered us. Thank you so much. Thank you, because it's fans like you is the reason why we are who we are today and why we're here and why we make the living that we make. So again, thank you so much for everything, all your contributions to supporting us. Not just what we've done for you, but what you have done for us. So again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Hopefully one day I get to meet you and give you the biggest hug. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. Terrence Terrell, do you have a happy Mother's Day for Cheryl?
It sounds like she's a wonderful mother. And just like I was saying before, mothers are the most important things in your life. That's the first woman that brought you into this world. And it sounds like she's an amazing mother. So happy Mother's Day to her. I'm sure she's an amazing mom.
Happy Mother's Day, Cheryl. I'm sure, obviously, like they said, you're a great woman, and just like every woman out there who's a mother deserves all the praise, because they definitely deserve it.
That's right. That's right. Terrence, we'll stay with you, man. What's the best way everyone can keep up with you, especially with all your wonderful bookings? I know you and Terrell, TNT, you guys are doing some shots with reality or wrestling. Booker T's fantastic promotion. What's the best way that the fans can keep up with you online and what have you, so they never miss anything?
We have social media, so you can keep up with us right now. We have an Instagram page. We have a Twitter page. The Instagram handle for me is TERRENZ, like zebra _. And then Terrell, what's yours?
Yeah, my Instagram handle is _ Terrell, TERR, 3 instead of an E, double L. And then yep, and then you can follow us on Twitter as well. We are on Twitter at TNT Kings.
TNT Kings, that's right. I'm telling you, folks, I remember these guys when they first broke in. They were doing their thing with their dad over in TNA. It is amazing to see the growth from these two young men. They are monsters out there, huge. They get the job done. They don't play any games. So for all you promoters out there, I'm talking to you, Triple H. For all you promoters out there, it's time, man. We need to see TNT on weekly television. It is time. Let's make it happen. Anyway, Devon, what's the best way everyone can keep up with you, brother?
Well, keep up with me at Testify Devon on Instagram, and also my YouTube channel, which is growing up very well. And I want to thank also, because we didn't put it out there, and I spoke to my producers about this. I'm a little upset about it. We didn't put out, when we reached 100,000 subscribers, thanking the people. We did the video, but it was never put out there. So I want to thank everybody for helping me reach that number, 100,000, within a month. I mean, it's going great. So please like and subscribe to the Devon Dudley YouTube channel. Check out all the videos that we have on there. Please leave your like and comments down below, and we even answer them on our show. So please do that. We'll have raffle sales going on in the whole nine for signed action figures, T-shirts, you name it. We're going to do it. So please let us know what you like, and we'll make sure that we provide it for you. Also, you can reach me there. You can reach me on Twitter at Testify Devon as well. My Facebook is private, just family and friends. So, you won't be able to reach me there. But, and come on out. I'm always putting out advertisement for where we're going to be, the Dudley Boys, at autograph signings and things like that. So, make sure you come out if we're near you in your area. Come on out and show your love and support, and we'll do the same thing for you back.
And don't forget, folks, you can catch all three of these guys at the River City Wrestling Con, June 7th and 8th, St. Augustine, Florida, the World Golf Village. You'll be able to see literally 2 generations of Dudleys right there in your face. So what's better than that? I mean, we talk about wrestling dynasties. This is the new dynasty going on here. So definitely make sure hey, who knows? Maybe you can get a picture of all three of these guys if you play your cards right. So definitely check them out. As always, Duke Loves Wrestling on Facebook, on Twitter. Let me know what you think of all the shows and what have you here. 9 years podcasting, and it happens because of moments like this, right? Devon Dudley, the Hall of Famer. He has his sons, TNT, Terrence and Terrell. Excellent story. This is compelling information you're not going to hear anywhere else. So stay tuned. We got more coming for you. With that said, Devon, it's that time. Our word of the week. What do you have for us, brother?
I've said this before in the very beginning, but I'm going to say it again because I feel like people need to remember this. If you fail to prepare, you are preparing to fail. So prepare to succeed. Do not fail.
I love that. Now listen, Terrence, Terrell, this is usually when I do it, but I'm going to have you fellas do it at the same time here. So on a count of 3, can we get a testify? We ready here? 1, 2, 3.
Testify.
Strictly for the culture every day. Stepping style in your unique way. Patterns and colors so defined. All about the perfect line. Be yourself, let your spirit fly. In this fashion, you'll touch the sky. Strictly for the culture, brand so fine. Dress to impress and show your shine. Strictly for the culture, every day. Step in style in your unique way.
Visit www.strictlyfortheculture.ca.
Backstage whispers and the crowds roar. From matching giants to legends of yore. Devon's wisdom and Duke's keen view. Every episode feels like it's brand new. Devon and the Duke bring the heat. Wrestling tales knock you off your seat. Tune in now, don't you be late. Wrestling podcast never